So we'll start. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending the Finance Committee meeting for on Thursday, March 25th. I will begin the roll call. Lorraine, you have started the recording. Jerry Abrahams, are you on the line? Yes. Tim Hodges?
Yes.
Kathy McKinnon?
Here.
George Perez? Commissioner Perez, are you on? Franklin Perry? Mr. Perry, are you on? Sarah Sanders?
Here.
Glenda Thames? Ms. Thames? Okay, so we do not have George Perez, Franklin Perry, and Glenda Thames, but we do have a quorum. I'll pass it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Hazim. So today our agenda is fairly brief, 2 action items and 2 reports. The first action item is for Hazim, preparations for the 2021 Series C bond issue, single family.
Thank you. Good morning. The first resolution is to authorize CHFA to issue up to 190 million of the Housing Mortgage Finance Program bonds. The sale will allow CHFA to raise up to 100 million of lending proceeds for the first-time homebuyer program and to refund about 90 million of outstanding bonds as we continue to take advantage of the current low interest rate environment. This is our second issuance for single family. Through February, we have purchased close to 33 million. We contemplate issuing the bonds as fixed rate and closing by the middle of May. Based on our senior underwriter rotation, RBC is assigned as the book running manager for the bonds. I'll be happy to answer any question the committee may have.
Again, I have one. Do you expect it to be as good as the last bond issue?
We hope so. I would say that Ohio just priced yesterday. The rate is a tad higher than what is stated in the memo. So currently, based on Ohio's execution, the all-in rate is about 2%. When we price, the all-in rate was around 1.7. So rates have definitely picked up. But in terms of demand, it has been changing week by week. The deals that went the week prior to Ohio, such as New York, did have a trouble getting orders from investors because there was a huge sell-off in the treasury market.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion?
That's Tim Hodges. I'll move.
Second?
A second, Franklin.
Franklin. Any discussion? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote.
Jerry Abrahams?
Aye.
Tim Hodges?
Aye.
Kathy McKinnon?
Aye.
George Perez? Franklin Perry?
Aye.
Sarah Sanders?
Aye.
Glenda Thames? Okay, so it's unanimous.
Very good. The next action item is authorization to enter into revolving credit facilities and issue revolving credit obligations. Hazim.
The second resolution is to authorize CHFA to procure a credit facility to help manage its interest expense and preserve volume cap or tax-exempt financing. In an elevated prepayment environment, a credit facility is more efficient and less expensive than issuing bonds. This is because CHFA will be able to draw from the facility at any time to acquire the prepayments and redeem the corresponding bonds, thereby reducing its negative carry. To minimize CHFA's risk, the amount drawn from the credit facility will be secured by an equal amount of loan prepayments. The aggregate amount for the facility shall not exceed 75 million at any time, and the term shall not exceed 3 years. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Hazim,
Yes.
Roughly what are the credit terms in the facility? In other words, are there events which would automatically cause an acceleration of the credit facility if ratings decline on Chfa or any other type of credit event?
Based on the indication that we received, one of them did require us to pay a higher spread in an event of a rating downgrade, but there's no acceleration other than if we, there's a default, correct?
Right. So just acceleration default, and there's no other non-Chfa controlled. And I take it you've just gotten indications of interest. You haven't actually negotiated, picked a provider or negotiated the loan documents yet.
Correct. So the expectation is, because this is going to be cash collateralized, we expect that there won't be a lot of those cross collateralized, additional pledge that will be required to get this facility.
Right. So it's not one of these where there's going to be one if like some, a bill gets introduced in the state assembly to, renounce all debts. It's going to give rise to an acceleration event.
No, because it's going to be outside, and then the prepays will be pledged, 100% pledged to the facility.
Okay. Thank you.
Question: does CHFA have other lines of credit, revolving credit facilities, or is this the first?
This is our first. So what we have done in the past, or where we've always, when it comes to borrowing, we've always utilized our general resolution as the vehicle to access capital. But then if we want to do so, we do need to comply with all the provisions set forth by the general resolution. So the way we are handling this, and to give some assurance to the credit provider, we essentially said that this is going to be a one-to-one, cash collateralized transaction. If not, they will impose all the conditions that Jerry mentioned earlier, that they will say, how can be ascertain the credit risk because all the collateral is within the general resolution. So this is our way of securing and reducing CHFA's risk.
And did you get many indications of interest?
Right now, based on the people we've spoken with, these are all like highly rated banks. When I approached 3 of them, all 3 have said that this is something that they do and they provide to other states. So they're just waiting for us to issue the proposal. So Bob Lam and his team, they are ready to issue it, subject to the board approving the resolution.
Hazim, what rate do you think you're going to end up getting, roughly?
The one that we just received, this is like late last night, is still below 1%.
Yeah.
So we feel comfortable that we probably will get 1% by the time that we lock everything in.
Free money.
It won't be based on LIBOR, will it?
It depends. So Sarah, so here's the thing about the institution, and I know that you did ask a question about LIBOR, in January. So we are going to provide you with an update about that. It depends, according to the institutions, as they try to build an index based on SOFR, it depends to the term. So if we have a facility that expires before June of 23, we can get LIBOR and probably get better execution. If it's going to be beyond 2023, then it will be SOFR based. So it all depends. But when I spoke with them and said about the cost of capital, mathematically it will end up the same place. It's just that it comes down to the volatility between 1 month LIBOR versus the daily SOFR rate.
Because I think you said it's a 3-year facility, so I think that will take you beyond.
Oh no, we're not so the resolution is 3 years, but then whatever that we enter into, it may end up being only like a year and a half, because banks, as you know, as they go longer, they will be asking for more spread, and we ourselves, we don't want to commit to something too long because we know it is going to reset.
Any other questions? May I have a motion?
I'll move. Sherry Abrahams.
Second?
I'll second. It's Tim.
Any more discussion? I'll have a roll call vote.
Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Tim Hodges,
Aye.
Kathy McKinnon,
Aye.
George Perez, Franklin Perry,
Aye.
Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Glenda Thames.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. Madam Chair, is unanimous.
Okay, next item is a financial report from Allison Murphy.
Good morning, all. Before you are the February financial reports. On the revenue side, mortgage loan and investment interest revenue are coming in $2.4 million below budget for the first 2 months of the year, and $2.9 million lower than prior year. The revenue variances continue to be driven by the reduction in the Authority's program assets, which are made up of our home loans and our mortgage-backed securities, in addition to the higher rates of mortgage prepayments. The prepayments for the first 2 months of this year compared to the same 2 months of last year are about $50 million higher. On the expense side, bond interest expense is below budget by $1.9 million for the first 2 months of the year, and $2.8 million lower than prior year. With slower than normal reservations, the Authority has issued more refunding bonds and long bonds, which has lowered our interest rates. Administrative expenses are coming in $2 million under budget and $360,000 less than prior year. When you exclude salaries and bennies of $4 million, current year-to-date expenses are $380,000 lower than prior admin expenses. The salary and benefits are pretty much a substantial portion of that variance. The Authorities approved for 143 positions, and there are currently 12 vacant positions as of February 28th. Lastly, the change in net position is above target by $1.7 million. Are there any questions?
Seeing no questions, the next report is Delinquency and Forbearance. Hazim.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to note something before I start about this report. So John Chilson prepared this report, but then as of this past Monday, Finance loaned him to the multifamily department. So for the near future, John will be the interim Deputy Managing Director for multifamily. So we loan him so that he can assist Masuda on certain operation and strategic matters. So I will do my best to replace John. So when it comes to the delinquency for the month of February, the Authority purchased 59 loans totaling $12 million, with an average loan size of $203,168. Also, for the same month, the Authority funded 55 second mortgage loan or down payment loans totaling $563,000 with an average amount of $8,515. The delinquency rate month over month decreased by 0.08% to less than 3%. In terms of the forbearance, at the end of January, the number of whole loan borrowers in forbearance declined by 17 to 627, involving 465,000 of monthly P&I on 76 million of unpaid principal balance, or 5.3% of the all old loan. The average loan size was $121,677. For the following month of February, we project the number will further decline by 52 to 575 whole loan borrowers. For the multifamily delinquency, in February, we closed 14 new loans. 13 of them were for the group home loans, totaling 7.5 million. And then the remaining one loan was for Market Square, totaling 8.2 million. The portfolio, of course, increased to 559 loans, or 1.26 billion. Permanent loan delinquency increased by 2 loans to 12, and construction loan delinquency remained the same. When we combine this, the delinquency rate for multifamily was 2.63%. For the multifamily forbearance, last year, the board approved and granted CHFA the authority to provide forbearance, of which we executed agreements with 7 projects across 8 loans. In January of this year, the board gave us additional authority to provide second forbearance for 2 projects for additional 6 months. The total monthly forbearance is about $6,800 on $587,000 of unpaid principal balance. Is there any questions?
I have a question. I've been reading articles, they might have even been sent by Chfa to me, but about once the COVID-related forbearance expires, there could be a wave of foreclosures. Do you think that that's a risk, you know, nationally?
Yeah, that is the risk, and I think that's the reason why we have been having internal discussion about the incoming federal dollars through the American Rescue Act to provide assistance to those who were homeowners who were impacted by COVID. So right now, based on federal guidelines, borrowers are able to access forbearance through the end of June. So the thinking right now is, as the dollars come in from Washington, there will be a transition from forbearance to foreclosure mitigation or assistance.
But not all will be able to be saved. Ones that don't have jobs or income, you know, may just have to be foreclosed on. And I know in Connecticut, it takes years because the courts are involved as opposed to other states. And you know, we had foreclosures going on from the 08-09 downturn for years. But it's just would be unfortunate because our real estate market's doing so good to have that happen again.
Right. Yeah, we have been on calls that was organized by our trade association and CSHA, and based on the feedback that we received from Treasury, the type of assistance that a state can provide to its resident is pretty broad. However, we still need to wait for Treasury guidance, but the belief is the type of assistance would be very similar to the hardest hit fund program that was established by Treasury back in 2008. And if that holds true, assistance can be beyond just providing, you know, monthly payments. It also includes a huge principal buy down. So effectively, it will reduce the financial obligation by the resident. Now, if the resident is totally unemployed, I mean, that is a different type of an assistance the resident will require. But assuming if the household is generating some income, and assuming they do qualify, then the program from Washington is the way to go.
Well, I suppose one good thing is if they, lost their job and need to become a renter again, at least they could probably sell their property at a pretty good price right now. So at least
Right. That's also something that we are speculating, because we CHFA, because we offer multifamily and single family, there's always been this hedge between ownership and renting. So we think that the amount of assistance, once it's doled out, it may impact or change the philosophy of the homeowner about what to do with the house, assuming that all of a sudden, like, all the debt was paid off, or I wouldn't say paid off, but was reduced, which will then trigger the ability to sell at a premium.
Hazim, to that point, do we have the necessary, if that's gonna happen and that's gonna be applicable to a certain number of homeowners, do we have the credit counselors and outreach and all of that in order to sort of educate homeowners and manage them through that process so they know how to think about it in those terms?
We do have counseling agencies that are under contract with CHFA. I think that unlike 2008, when the financial crisis happened, it happened in such a way where people were, such in a shock. But today, and because the whole COVID pandemic, it has transpired over 1 year, and then even last year, the state did offer TMAP. So right now, I think that we in terms of our counseling network, they are fully aware. We are also in touch with the Connecticut Fair Housing. So we believe what's going to happen is we just have to interface and make sure that once Treasury guidance comes out, everyone is looking at it the same way and interpreting it the same way, and then we pursue the common goal in terms of how to roll it out. Because right now, depending to who you talk to, they say, okay, this is how we should help. And what we do not want to happen is you have so many options to the point where it will then just make it more labor intensive to roll out the program. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to formulate a plan where we believe it makes sense, and then it could address the needs of the resident and provide the biggest impact. So the short answer is yes, we do have it. We are always in touch. It's just that right now we want to make sure that we come up with a plan where we can address the biggest needs, but then we also do not want it to make it so complicated. But then the challenge right now is we can formulate, but if our formulation does not equate to what Treasury says, then we have to adjust because it's still Treasury.
Understood.
I know CHFA has been talking about doing refis. I'm wondering if that would help with some of these issues where interest rate, someone's income has gone down, or one member of the household is working now, a reduction in interest rate combined with the additional equity they may have could, would that eliminate PMI and save them money.
So Kathy, you're stealing my thunder.
Oh,
So at the board meeting, I will make a presentation about the homeownership programs, and it does include some of the stuff that you mentioned. So the goal is to provide and update the board of our findings, things that we would like to pursue, and things that we would like the board to consider. And depending to the feedback we receive from the board, we will, give our feedback, comments, and then we will, pursue as directed by the board.
Any more comments or questions? Our next item is approval of the minutes from our last meeting on February 25th. May I have a motion?
Moved. It's Tim.
Second,
second, Kathy.
roll call vote in favor.
Jerry Abrams,
Aye.
Tim Hodges,
Aye.
Kathy McKinnon,
Aye.
George Perez, Franklin Perry,
Aye.
Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Glenda Thames. Glenn, I think you said yes, right?
Aye, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's fine. Just want to make sure. So it's unanimous.
Okay. With that, can we vote on all in favor of a motion to adjourn? Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.